Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannawadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye. Om. Dear friends, we are seeing the 47th shloka of Sankhya Yoga, which I was saying, it is a very important shloka which defines what is Karma Yoga. That is, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu mate sangosva karmani. On the face of it, it says you do action, you do your karma and do not ask for the result. And in fact, many people who do not read the overall context properly, they get frightened by this, they get alarmed by this, and it seems there are some places where this particular shloka has been deleted. Suppose they select a particular passage from the Gita and they delete this particular shloka because they don't want to handle this shloka. So, but if we see the overall context of this shloka, we can see in what sense Krishna is saying. And I was telling you yesterday that this is not something which Krishna is newly advocating. It is something which is there in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Kurvanneveha karmani jijivishet shatagam samaha. That is a person who is not capable of that supreme level of understanding, or one who has not yet reached that level of understanding. He should continue to do this karma. He should continue to do karma. Na anyatetosti. Itaha anyatha nasti. That means, apart from this, there is no other way. Na karma lipyate nare. That is, the karma does not taint a person. That is, the karma phala does not get attached to a person. So, this is what that Upanishad says. And the same thing Krishna is saying. Karmani eva adhikaraha te. Te means to you. Let us see this shloka closely rather. Te means to you. To you means not only to Arjuna. Of course, for Arjuna, Krishna is directly saying, for you, you may not be eligible right now for that level of jnani. That is, in the earlier shloka, he was talking about a jnani for whom all the things which are promised in the Vedas, they are like small toffees. They are like lollipops. Swarga is like a lollipop, says Srimad Bhagavatam. So like that, a person who is a jnani, he doesn't bother for Swarga Loka, he doesn't bother for some other Loka or some other Loka. So Krishna is now referring to Arjuna, for you, in your case, you have to do karma. Because your eligibility, karmani eva adhikaraha. Adhikara means eligibility and also responsibility. Adhikara does not mean right. Adhikara, now we talk about our adhikara, our right. So that adhikara, for example, a kshatriya can perform a particular yajna. For example, a Rajasuya yagam. Rajasuya means, we see that Rajasuya yaga in Sri Mahabharatam or Ashwamedha yagam. So these yagams only a kshatriya can do. A brahmana is not adhikari for that. That means he is not eligible. And another particular yaga, that is like Bruhaspati yagam, Bruhaspati Sava. That Bruhaspati Sava only brahmana has to do because he is only pursuing knowledge. And kshatriya is not supposed to do that. So like that, there is an adhikari bheda. Adhikari bheda means a particular person is adhikari for this, another man is adhikari for something else. So here, karmanyeva adhikaraha te. Te not only refer to Arjuna here, it refers to all of us. Because Krishna is telling this Gita for the entire world. Arjunam nimitti krutya. In the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the commentators have said, this message is for the entire humanity. Arjuna is only a nimittam. Nimittam is a sort of pretext. Arjuna is a pretext. On the pretext of telling Arjuna, a particular philosophy of life is told for the entire humanity. So, karmanyeva adhikarahate ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma phaleshu means not for the phalam. Not for the phalam means not for the punyam or papam. Of course, when you are doing a good karma, there is no papam. You are only getting that punyam. Even that punyam, you are not supposed to get. You are not supposed to ask for, because that punyam again is binding in nature. Because the objective is to ensure that a person is not bound by the karma phalam. And because this karma phala is something which is, if not today, it is going to give a result at some later point of time. Because all these punyam, various punyams, etc., immediately they may not give fruit, because in the overall scheme, the man may get that result in another janma or in some other janma, depending on whatever action is very, very strong and whatever punya phalam is very, very strong. That strong punya phalam comes first. So depending on that, some punyam will remain later. It will come again and again and again. So it is somewhat like a long ledger. It is like a long ledger which runs for several lives. So till a person becomes a jnani and gets all that thing nullified. So that is what it is. So here Krishna says, you just keep doing karma. You just keep doing karma, so that at least in this present life, the whatever punyam or whatever karma phalam which you are going to get, that will not be there. And this punyam will also neutralize what are the past karmas, what past sins, past papam. So that also is there. So here we can just understand what is the difference between what is karma and what is nishkama karma. Karma on one side and nishkama karma. Suppose you visualize a tabular column in your mind. So karma, what is this karma? Karma means any type of yajna, dhanam, etc., which is going to give you some punya. And karma is something which is done which expecting some result. And karma yoga is the same karma. There is no difference in the karma, but he is not expecting the result. The same ritual, the same yajna, he is not expecting the punya phalam. So that is karma yoga. And in this normal karma, there is no ultimate goal. There is no idea of moksha. There is no idea that one has to plan for, one has to use it as a means in order to attain that moksha. But in the case of karma yoga, the person who is following karma yoga, he is having an idea that yes, this karma yoga, I am doing it as a first step, as a preliminary step for attaining moksha. How? Because in this karma, normal karma or a ritual, it is not associated with chitta shuddhi or antahkarana shuddhi, that purity of mind. It is not one of the goals. It is not the goal. Because he is asking for fruit, he is doing some karma, he is asking for fruit. Whereas in this karma yoga, he is not asking for the fruit, he is not asking for that punyam. So that is why it is giving that antahkarana shuddhi. A person who is doing some action without expecting anything, without expecting anything from the other person, without expecting that punyam also. That punyam is supposed to be given by the divine scheme. Even from that divine scheme, he is not expecting anything. So that is how it is for chitta shuddhi. And that sort of activity gives some purity of antahkarana shuddhi or purity of mind. And this karma, ordinary karma, is for one's own abhyudaya. Abhyudaya means a worldly success and worldly growth. And this karma yoga is for nishreyasa. The opposite of abhyudaya is nishreyasa. Abhyudaya is worldly success. Nishreyasa means a higher level of happiness, a higher level of happiness by proper understanding and realization. So that is nishreyasa. And in this normal karma, the so-called sanchita karma, the baggage of karma keeps on swelling. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. You are doing, suppose you are more punyam, you are doing some more rituals, etc., more punyam. So this sanchita karma, this baggage is more and more and more. So as a result, he has to take more and more births. So in the case of nishkama karma or karma yoga, this sanchita karma does not swell, because this man is not asking for the fruit of that karma. He is not asking for the fruit. And in addition, whatever good actions he does, it will nullify some of the bad actions which were done in previous lives. Whatever papam is there, there is a sutra, dharmena or punyena papam apanudati. That is, if I am doing a punya karma now, that will nullify some of my past sins. So like that, punyena papam apanudati. So that means sanchita karma, even that sanchita karma, there is a possibility of reduction of at least the bad things in that past lives, or this life also past, whatever has been done in the past. So this karma yoga is definitely one step. It is something in the process of knowledge, whereas karma is nothing to do with the process of knowledge. So this is the basic difference between karma and karma yoga. So here when Krishna says karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, we have to keep these points in mind. The basic difference between what is normal karma and karma yoga. And the second line says ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. do not become the cause for karma phala. That means, when do I become the cause for karma phala? I become the cause for karma phala when I have that sankalpa, when I have that desire. As I said, when we go to a temple, the pujari gives a long sankalpa. That long sankalpa I have to totally scrap. I have to scrap that sankalpa. When I go to a temple, I am doing puja just as a duty, as my duty, as out of my own understanding of the divinity. I understand, I visualize divinity, and then I pray to that supreme reality in that particular form. So with that love and understanding, suppose I do it as my duty, then that becomes karma yoga. And I am totally scrapping that sankalpa. I want this punyam, dharmartha, kama, moksha, chaturvidha, phala, purushartha, siddhyartham, putra, pautra, viruddhyartham, vamshaya, viruddhyartham, etc., etc. All those things I am just scrapping. So that is what ma karma phala heturbhu means. Do not become the cause for the karma phala means. Do not have that sankalpa. Do not have the desire for the fruit of that action. And then a person may think, okay, then I will not do anything. I will just keep quiet. I will sit happily. And again, what Krishna says is, you are not supposed to sit idle also. You have to do karma, but do not expect result. Mate sangostva karmani. Akarmani te sangaha mastu. That means, akarma means, in Hindi they call it nikamma. Nikamma means totally a person who is a person who doesn't do any action, a lazy person. Nikamma is a totally lazy person who is sitting just idling and then sleeps till about 11 a.m. and then gets up at 11 and then just sits before TV and then that is they are called potato couch. Yes, not potato couch, couch potato. That such a person is called a couch potato. That means he sits on a couch and then he eats some potato chips and then he just watches and then relaxes and again in the evening has nicely he sleeps. So that is a life. That is tamasa. That is samoguna. So mate sango swakarmani means whatever akarma is, that is not doing an ordained action is akarma. We have to understand that in our scheme of things, in our ethics, if we see the Indian ethics, the duties have been assigned for various types of people depending on what is varna, what is ashrama. For a brahmachari, the brahmachari's duties are like this. Grihastha, the duties are like this. Vanaprastha, the duties are like that. Or for a person in a particular varna, the duties are like that. So there are duties and duties and duties which are visualized. Duty means a karma, which are visualized for all the people in the society. A person is not supposed to sit idle. A grihastha is not supposed to sit idle. A grihastha is supposed to do, for example, Atiti Yajna, Deva Yajna, that is, he is supposed to give food to guests. He is supposed to offer prayers to gods. He is supposed to give some food to lower animals. So, all these things are there. These are all the duties. They are all duties ordained on a man. If a person is not doing it, that is basically a sin of omission. In English, we use the words sins of commission and sins of omission. And sometimes the sins of omission, they are equally bad, like sins of commission. Sins of omission, it is okay, I have not done anything, I am perfect. We can't think like that. Even the sin of omission is very serious. So, mate sangos swakarmani means you have to get out of that tamoguna. If akarma, if somebody thinks, okay, I will not do anything, he is getting into tamoguna mode. And in our entire scheme of things, tamoguna has to be conquered by rajoguna. And rajoguna also has to be controlled or conquered by sattvaguna. In fact, this is one message which we see in that story of Vishwamitra and Vasishtha. We know that very famous story of Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. And of course, we see that, okay, Vishwamitra wants to grab that Surabhi, that Dhenu. Dhenu means that cow that is wish-fulfilling cow. That is Kamadhenu, wish-fulfilling cow. And again, the battle ensues, etc. That is totally, it has to be taken in a very, very symbolic way. The entire thing is a symbolic message. And how gods test him, that Vishwamitra, when he is doing tapas, how Indra tests him at various levels. So many things happen. That means he is tested on the front of Kama. He is tested on the front of Krodha. He is tested on various other points. So only when he passes all those grades, only when he goes beyond this Kama, Krodha, etc., all those things, then he is called, that from the level of Rajarshi, he becomes a Brahmarshi. So it again does not, we should not think that, okay, Brahmanas have arrogated to themselves so much of power in society, etc. We should not think like that. That Brahmana is a person, if we see Ramayana closely, he is a person who has totally abnegated all this so-called physical power, and he is only there in that he is only in that mode of tapas. He is in that state of total selflessness. A person who is in that state of selflessness, that is what we see in that Vasishtha. He doesn't have anything. He only performs those yajnas, and then for that purpose that Kamadhenu is there. So anyway, so that Sattva Guna has to ultimately overcome Rajoguna. So that is the formula. Rajoguna, Tamoguna has to be controlled. The laziness has to be controlled by action. That is, laziness has to be replaced by action. And action also has to be replaced by motiveless action. That is, that phala abhisandhi, that is, without us seeking the fruit. And this also, over a period of time, this has to mature to the level of jnanam. So that is the overall scheme of things. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu mate sangostva karmani. Do not have attachment for this akarma, because akarma is again, that is something which is laziness. Here we see this concept called doing a karma with, we are going to get another term called Ishvara Arpana Buddhi slowly, just after a few verses. And doing a karma as a duty. Doing a karma without expecting result means doing a karma which as a matter of duty, as a sort of as a sort of order from the Lord, or order from the Lord means acting on behalf of the Lord, or acting as an instrument of the divine will. I am acting as an instrument of that divine will, or working in accordance with that cosmic scheme. When we say that when we are doing a karma without asking for the fruit, means that is acting according to a divine scheme. Because even if God wants to do something, God is not asking for any fruit of action. God is doing all things without seeking any fruit from us. So like that. So that is putting myself in God's shoes, and do all good karmas, and acting as an agent of the Lord. So these are all various ways in which the commentators have commented on this. That is, acting as an instrument of the Lord, or acting in accordance with the cosmic plan, or putting oneself into the shoes of God, and acting as an agent of the Lord, etc., etc. And this vyashti karma, that is whatever individual karma, individual, there is a word called vyashti, and the aggregate is called samashti. So this whatever karma is done at, or has to be done at the level of vyashti, it has to go for samashti good, that is for the collective good. So whatever action which I am doing, it is not meant to get any fruit for me, but it is for the collective good. So that is what is the basic principle of Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Ishvara means the whole society. The whole society is visualized as that Ishvara, because Ishvara is somebody who is the person who is giving the karma phala for the whole society. And he is having no partiality, he is having no ill will, no hatred for anybody. So from that place, or with that frame of mind, I am doing the karma. So only then, at that time, then I can be called a karma yogi. So that is what is the overall meaning of this particular shloka. And this shloka should not be misunderstood. Again and again I am saying that it should not be misunderstood, that Krishna is saying, okay, you do work and don't get result. So he is not saying that. So then we come to the next shloka. Next shloka also Krishna is again saying about the same thing. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyos samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So yogastha kuru karmani. Karma yoge sthita. Yogastha means, when we use the word gruhastha, what is gruhastha? One who is staying in a gruhe sthita is gruhastha. Yogastha means yoge sthita, that is somebody who is established in yoga. What is this yoga we are now talking about? We are talking about karma yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani, that is you perform your actions established in karma yoga. And sangam tyaktva dhananjaya, that is not even a desire that I am pleasing the Lord, I am pleasing, not even that desire. Even that desire should not be there. And siddhya siddhyos samo bhutva, not aspiring, not bothering about whether you are attaining that siddhi or not attaining that siddhi, and what is that siddhi we will see tomorrow. Samo bhutva, and that equanimity of mind, samatvam yoga uchyate, that equanimity of mind is called yoga or karma yoga. We will see tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.